Developed in the 1930s by Alfred Butts, Scrabble has evolved into a global game which is currently sold in 121 countries and available in over 30 languages. Scrabble has been included as a demonstration sport in the 13th Africa Games happening in March. The game has so many educational benefits, hence teachers use it as a fun and effective tool to enhance language skills for students. To share a bit more on the competition, we're joined by President of Scrabble South Africa, Dr. Obidike, and Vice President Stephen Gruzd. Gentlemen, a very good morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Let's talk about this competition this year. It involves 3 men and women who will be representing South Africa here.
Yes. For the first time, Scrabble is included as a demonstration sport in the All Africa Games. So every country that is playing Scrabble in Africa is going to be attending, including South Africa. So we have a slot to bring 3 females and 3 males. So the competition is between the 15th of March to 17th of March. So it's 3 days of intensive Scrabble competition in Accra, Ghana.
And for those who are not so privy to this sport, how would you describe demonstration sport? What is a demonstration sport?
It means that it's a new sport that's being introduced that has not been on the calendar before. So, for example, things like golf were demonstration sports for the Olympics. So it's one that's not yet widespread a competition, but it's a new sport that they are introducing at this particular games.
Okay, so how does the tournament work? And the 6, how were they selected?
So we have a rating system, and we chose those towards the top of the rating system who were able to go. Unfortunately, we are dependent on raising funding, and so we don't get government funding at the moment. So there's a little bit of a restriction on who can afford it. But it's where people appeared on the ratings, and I believe there's a team competition and an individual competition at the games in Ghana.
Okay, let's talk about the general interest in the sport in South Africa. What's your observation in terms of whether South Africans are quite interested, or is there a spike in interest in this sport?
Traditionally, South Africans have been playing Scrabble. Scrabble is played in virtually every home. People know Scrabble. It's just that they play it at home. So one of our major objectives is to bring people out of their homes to come and play across the board with a real, and teach them also how to play competitive Scrabble. What they play at home is, we call it kitchen Scrabble, not that it's only played in the kitchen. So they need to come to the, to the club so that we show them how it is played, that you need to play with a clock. You're not going to, some people, if they are losing a game, they can keep it till the next day. You have only 25 minutes to play a standard game. And there are a lot of words that people don't know. And that you don't know, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There are real words, and there are some people that use it. So when you come to the club, we equip you with how to play the game in standard form. We give you all the word list. I came with a book of the word list that contain every word that is used or allowed in Scrabble. So we have the apps whereby you can check a word. If somebody plays a word that you're not sure of and you want to challenge, you call a challenge and you go to the app, and the app will tell you whether it's a word or not. So there's a huge interest, and that is what we're trying to tap into. So like Steve is going to talk about our project, the Vest Scrabble Club, which we just set up, is starting this week for the first time, and there's huge interest. Steve will talk about it, because one of our projects is to set up a Scrabble club in every university in the country. So
before we get to the club, I want you guys to make us understand, how does one become a winner in Scrabble? Because I know so many people are so accustomed to such games as Morabaraba or Draft or Chess, but how do I become a winner in Scrabble?
Well, you've got to learn some words. You've got to make sure you're very solid on all of your 2-letter words, your 3-letter words, common 7-letter words. Playing parallel is one of the things that amateur players don't really do, because all your words that you make can sometimes move in 2 directions, depending on where you play. It's putting the big letters on the right squares in the board, so the triple letter and the double letter scores are where you should put your Z and your Q and your X if you can, because you get a lot of points for that. 7-letter words are very important because if you play all your 7 letters, you get 50 points bonus. It's a very strategic game. Do you want to open? Do you want to close? Are you ahead? Are you behind? What letters do you leave back on your rack? So there's a number of different variables that are happening. And if you get all of those right, you should beat your opponent.
So is that how it is educationally beneficial to youngsters?
So I don't know. I think it's educationally beneficial in other ways. It teaches them language. It teaches them how parts of speech work, addition, strategic thinking, problem solving, confidence, vocabulary. There's so many ways that it enhances a young person's life.
He did mention that you guys decided to form a club. Let's talk about the club. I mean, what is its intention? What are its goals? And how many members so far do you have?
So there are a number of clubs, but the newest one in Gauteng is going to be the Wits University Scrabble Club. I advertised for the last month or so, and we're up to nearly 90 people who are interested. Don't know if they will all attend, but we're launching this Thursday evening at Sturrock Park Wits Sports offices, and it's open to students, staff and alumni. And the aim is to just firstly have a place where people can have fun, where they can learn the game, and then we'll coach them. And hopefully they will get strong enough to feed into the competitions, which we hold about once a month. Maybe they want to join some other clubs that meet on other days. But really it's to get the university going at Wits. And then, as Ike said, we have a dream to expand it to other universities and have inter-varsity competitions.
And how do we introduce this sport to youngsters, to get more young people to be involved in it?
We also have made plans for that, and we've actually started it. But look, we've been funding this ourselves, and to really spread it to most of the schools, we need funding for that. Right now, we have a Scrabble club in Saxon Ward Primary School. It's in Saxon Ward. It's about the best public primary school in Johannesburg. Yes. Okay. So we identified them as a good place to start, and the youngsters love it. We have a member that goes in once in 2 weeks, to support them and to teach them as well. So it's really thriving there. So with the right amount of funding, so that we can recruit more coaches. We have members who are ready to coach, so we need to cater for their trips and compensate them for the coaching. So once we have all the resources we need, nothing stops us taking Scrabble to every corner of South Africa. Presently, we have 6 schools in Limpopo. They have 2 clubs in the 2 schools. The other 4 schools want to introduce Scrabble. We need to go there and do workshops for them to show them how it's played. In Rustenburg, they've contacted me. They have 4 schools ready to introduce Scrabble. Really? But they need to be taught. Who's going to teach them? Us. How do we get there? We need funds. We need
But what exactly are you teaching them? Are you teaching them to play the sport, as a means of just having fun or just for recreational purposes? Or are you teaching them to be competitive? Or are you training them to participate competitively?
One step at a time. They first need to know how it's played. And then once they mastered how it's played, then we start teaching them, the Scrabble 101 beginners, stuff, like how to maximize your scores, how to open your mind to, basically it's about maximizing your scores. Okay. So we teach them about strategy, about which ways to play, what to keep, where to put the words, like Steve was saying, you look at the colored spots, those are the hot spots. You need to put the high scoring ties on them and make weights. Okay. And basically maximize your score, because at the end of the game, who scored the highest is the winner. So we teach them all the strategy towards that objective.
Gentlemen, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Scrabble in South Africa, of course, has been included at the 13th Africa Games which will be taking place in Accra in Ghana. We just spoke to the president of Scrabble South Africa, Dr. Obidike, and Vice President Stephen Gruzd.